Today I'm interviewing the wonderful Lucinda Drayton, who is known for her beautiful voice. Her well-known songs, as for instance 100,000 Angels and Love, Peace, Wisdom, which are loved by many people all over the world, including myself. She sings from the heart to the heart, and music plays a big part in her life. So welcome, Lucinda.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for participating in this interview for the SNUi. Well, let's start with question number 1. Can you tell us how music came into your life?
I brought it with me. It didn't come into my life. I think I arrived full of music. I mean, it's always been in my life. Always sang when I was tiny. My dad sang every morning, very early. It's just always been part of my life. My sister was a great collector of records and introduced me to a lot of music when we were young. So it's just been part of my life, inside and outside.
Well, that's wonderful that you are brought up that way as well, I would say.
Yeah, it was very full of music, our house.
Yeah. And can you, what's your understanding of the power of words? And how do you choose the words you sing in a song?
That's a very deep question. We could talk about that forever.
I know.
The power of words. I mean, I think that's why I'm such a great advocate of education, because if you give a child words and the ability to express themselves, they can access power. Great orators have great power if it comes from a place of wisdom. I think it's all very well having the right words, but if it's not connected to your inner wisdom, then there's a kind of disconnect. And then we get this kind of inauthenticity that we often feel in our leaders, because they might be reading a great speech written by somebody else, but it's not who they are.
Yeah.
When the two match, when the inner and the outer match, when you get incredible wordsmiths who are also living that, then there is something incredible happens. If you listen to the songs of Dylan or Tom Waits or someone like that, then it's just awe-inspiring. The marriage of words and music is awe-inspiring. But words on their own for me are just, I've always loved words. I've always been an avid reader, still am. I love poetry. I love listening to people speak who are great with words. I collect phrases from people. I nick phrases. No, I love words. I think they're just amazing.
And you're mentioning you're collecting phrases from people. Do you use those phrases in your songs, for instance?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes, all the time. Or sometimes, I'll nick a line, I have to admit it, from Rumi. I started a song called I Will Rise. And the first line is, it's through your wounds that the light gets in.
Oh, beautiful.
Because that's just, it just says everything in a line.
It is.
It's been my journey for many years, that really, allowing the light in through your suffering, through your challenges, not allowing it to take you into more darkness, but to allowing it to expand you and change you and open your heart more. So Rumi just nails it in one line. How does somebody do that? I don't know. That's genius.
Yeah, it is. And there's so much truth in it, and many people can, that's the beauty of your songs, many people can recognize themselves in your songs and go along with the song and see how they understand and they develop themselves in the process of living, I would say.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know what it does, and I don't get too involved in what the music does out there, because it's given to me, so I just pass it on. I don't feel it belongs to me.
Yeah.
So I'm always very touched and surprised when somebody says it saved their life or stopped them committing suicide. Or I'm amazed, but I certainly don't take that as something I've done. I think that would be dangerous.
Yeah, but it touches people. That's for sure. That's absolutely, it touches so deep in the soul of people, and that's the beauty of your songs. Like for instance, the lyrics on Road to Gold on the CD Through Your Eyes. It says, "When divinity is yours, then forgiveness is the healer." Beautiful sentence, beautiful line.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your definition of forgiveness, and how can music support this process of forgiveness and healing?
Forgiveness is a road for me. It's a practice. It's not something you do one time. For me, it has to become a way of life, and it has to be me first. I have to forgive myself first before I even try to forgive anybody else. So, and I've had to do quite a lot of that in my life over the last few years, and it's not easy to truly forgive. I feel when you've truly forgiven, there is such a deep letting go that there's this beautiful space where you could bring in something else. And the connection to divinity is I think when you sit in meditation or you have your practice and you touch that little bit of the divine in yourself, there's the higher self or the bit of you that hasn't been damaged, then forgiveness feels so easy. It's like there's a part of you that knows how to do that just loves. It's like, yeah, of course, I still love you. I love you. But then there's the human part that is like, but you hurt me. You broke my heart, and I don't like you, and I'm angry, and I'm hurt, and I can't let go. I can't let go. And so I suppose the uncomfortable place of forgiving is knowing where you would like to be, the sage, the divine, and then knowing where you are, which is struggling along, feeling forgiving sometimes, and other times feeling wretched and hurt and angry.
Yeah.
And can I live with those two bits of myself that don't seem to match? And I've had to learn to do that, really, because I knew what I'd like to be intellectually, but I couldn't get there. But I got there in the end. You know, that's the point. You have to just keep trying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a tough road, forgiveness. It should never be underestimated.
Absolutely true. I know all about it. It's the biggest lesson of love, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's absolutely necessary if you want to move forward.
Yeah.
You know, on a spiritual level. You cannot go around it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful how you choose your words in this, because again there's so much truth and wisdom in it. I got another question where I'm really curious about. You're mentioning that Raya Yoga, you were still are very active in yoga practicing.
Yes.
But how did the Raya Yoga change the way you make music?
Oh, hugely, huge, because Raja Yoga is a practice of I, the being, I, the soul, connect with the supreme soul, the divine. So that's a very deep practice, and it changed me. It changed everything. And so it changed my music completely. And I could never have written 100,000 Angels if I hadn't been involved in that practice. It's just no way. So I wouldn't even I couldn't, it's just huge. It completely changed everything. My life, who I am, and the way I wrote.
Yeah, because you're also talking about the spiritual awareness and the transformational part of music, and that is also influenced by that Raja Yoga, you mean?
Yeah, well, I suppose I wasn't really aware of how the music would be transformative. All I did was I did my practice and tried to strengthen my relationship with the divine or God, whatever word you feel comfortable with. And in doing so, the music took on a different power because I wasn't making it up. I was just telling the truth of what I was experiencing. And I think that's the point. You know, I just told the truth. As I do now when I struggle, I talk about the struggle in my songs, you know.
Yeah.
So
where do you get your inspiration from the songs from then? you think or you feel?
From so many different places, from people, from nature, from spiritual practice, from thinking, from relationships. I mean, everywhere. But a lot of mine is about the spiritual journey and the struggle and why are we here and love. I talk about love a lot. I'm kind of slightly obsessed with love. Love and death. the big ones.
Yeah, true.
Death and God.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, talking about that, you created some healing songs, beautiful healing songs, CDs for people going through the challenges of diseases and grief. Would you like to explain a bit about this side in your work as a musician?
Well, I'm a meditation teacher as well, so those CDs are, some of those CDs you're talking about are actually guided meditation CDs, because I just wanted to share with people a little bit more depth of the journey I've been on. So Letting Go, Moving On is a collection of meditations about letting go, forgiveness, what we were talking about earlier, grief, overcoming divorce, that kind of thing. Because I'd been through it myself, but because I was such a practitioner of meditation, I was almost able to watch myself going through it. And then I was able to create something very heartfelt on the other side. And then there's another CD called Love Surrounds You, which is specifically for people living with cancer. So it's a song and guided meditations. So I did a lot of interviews with people living with cancer. And they told me about various things that had helped them. And I spoke to some health practitioners as well. And I recently saw one of my family go through a very long cancer journey. So it's, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It's a really tough road. So anything that they can get to help them, to make them feel safer, to make them feel they're not alone, I think is wonderful. And the song is a pretty powerful song. Just love surrounds you, even no matter what you're going through, we can love you.
Yeah, that's touching. And I think a lot of people listening to that CDs will be feeling that love and will be helped in a way by your CD. So that's beautiful that you created that.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I understand that you have an interest in epigenetics. I read it somewhere, don't know where, but if I'm correct. And like in your view, how can music connected with the idea of epigenetics, how can music bring change in people's body, mind, spirit, and the world we live in, maybe?
Oh, that's a really deep question.
Yeah, on a Monday morning.
I have to go away and do an essay on that. It's something I'm exploring with a friend of mine at the moment, actually, music and consciousness, the effect of music and consciousness. And we are thinking of holding a conference around that. So it's quite new to me, and I wouldn't like to sit here and talk about something I don't know a huge amount about. So I'm not sure I can say too much, but I have experienced many situations where music can bring healing to people. It opens the heart. I feel it moves through the body. We're all, if we believe we're energetic beings, then music is an energy force, and so it's going to touch people on a deep level, many levels, emotionally, spiritually, and I believe physically. Yeah. With epigenetics, this whole idea that we can live up to or live down to our genetic blueprint is fascinating. Yeah. That we can activate certain gene potential or we can deactivate it. So we don't have to live up to our parents' diseases, but maybe we can live in a different way. We can access different parts of ourselves. And I think anything we can do to be authors of our own destiny whether that's listening to music, whether that's meditation, combined with exercise and great nutrition and diet and hydration. I mean, I don't think there's one easy answer. It's got to be all of it.
Yeah.
And a non-toxic environment, which is very difficult in the world we live in today, where we're just polluting everything. So it's a really deep, health is a really deep, a deep discussion. In fact, that's what I was doing yesterday. We were talking about the model of health. And, it's I think you just got to do your best in each area. Try to drink great, fresh, clean water as much as you can. Eat a varied diet. Put good thoughts into your mind. Get rid of waste on every level. I mean, it's just immense. But we just have to be very kind, I think, and do what we can. Do what we can in each area.
Yeah. Absolutely agree with that, because when we understand that genes react to the environment, and environment is on any level, so that's that even thoughts are the environment. So and thoughts give a reaction into the physical body. So that's, and the beauty of the music, it influences our emotion, our thoughts, so our body. So that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
That you are exploring this area, and I'm very interested in what you are going to do with it on the conference. So I will be watching you.
We've got some interesting people who have done a bit more work on it than I. Because I just do what I do, and people experience what they experience. Mm-hmm. But for me, what you've just said makes perfect sense. Yes, our environment we interact with our environment, and our environment interacts with us.
Yeah.
So if we surround ourselves with good people, beautiful music, beautiful, ordered rooms and nature, then of course we're affected by that.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Well, as we all understand, you are a very spiritual person. That's clear for sure. And maybe a deep question as well on the Monday morning.
You're into that, aren't you?
Oh yes, I love deep questions.
You're a deep thinker.
Sometimes yes, but what's your personal perception of what everybody calls God or the divine source, and how do you put this knowing in your daily life as well as in your artistic life?
I kind of can you hear my partner play guitar in the background? Is that coming across?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No. So you should come closer.
He's downstairs, so it's sounding very lovely, but I don't want it to ruin your
No, let him play.
Right. And a bit of an accompaniment downstairs. And it comes again from my practice of Raja Yoga. So I see my relationship with God is on a soul level. I visualize or feel myself as a non-physical being and connect with the source energy all the time. I mean, it's just been such a practice of mine for so many years that I just do it all the time. Mm-hmm. And then I have a very human relationship where I chat, like he's my friend, he, she, it is my friend, my helper, my guide. It's just always there, to be honest. It's very natural for me, and I'm building it, because I did really look at my faith fairly recently and actually say, well, it's not as strong as you thought it might be, because you still worry, you still stress about the future. So I had to look at that and go, well, that's not too congruent, is it? Because if you really have faith in some kind of divine benevolent source, why would you ever worry? So I'm in the process of building a stronger relationship with that part of myself, and I enjoy the relationship. So I also have a concept of God being outside of myself, but I also understand on a deeper level that perhaps the duality is collapsed at times, and that maybe we are combined. And I don't have a problem with that seeming paradox. So in my everyday life, it's just part of every day. I mean, it's I sit. I have periods where I sit quietly in silence, or I walk and I chat, or I just wake up and say good morning. You know, I'm trying to bring it more and more into my everyday life. And then, of course, it just permeates the music because that's what I'm thinking about anyway.
Yeah.
So it's very natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't imagine my life without it. But I hope it's not dogmatic. I hope it's not a sort of religious way of looking. Although, you know, if that's what it helps people, then I'm not a judger of that. But I struggle with the idea of you know, fundamentalism, where I've got the right answer and you've got the wrong answer, because, you know, that is just creating such conflict in the world.
True.
And to me, that's just about fear. I don't actually care what anybody else believes. I don't, you know, and I don't understand why other people do care so much. You know, I can learn so much from my Muslim neighbours and my Christian neighbours. I've got Christians on one side and Muslims on the other. It's fantastic, you know. How wonderful is that?
Yeah.
And we all chat, and we, you know, I learn about halal. I learn, and then I learn about, you know, Jesus. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and we are all part of that puzzle, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the beauty is that you are in the middle, and it should be, in my opinion as well, it should be a natural, personal connection. Nobody can tell you in what form it should be, and that's impossible, because it is personal, and it should be personal and natural, and I absolutely agree on that. Yeah.
And your life will show it, or it won't, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, love is what you do, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing? And that's really what I'm trying to concentrate on more these days. What am I actually doing? And I don't set myself up to be any kind of expert on that. I'm just walking each day, you know. Let's see.
I think that's a healthy way to give your life a form the way you want it, and just being who you are and doing what you're doing. It's you're a beautiful person, I must say, and I really love all the things you are creating in this world, because in my belief you make such a difference in personal lives, and as you did with mine, it's really, really healing, and it's very interesting to follow you where you are going in the future. So do you have more plans for the future for yourself, with what you want to share with us?
Well, I'm going to make an album of Christmas songs, because I'm a great fan of Christmas, and I've been saying I do that for years, and I'm saying it now to give myself enough time to do it. So that's coming up at the end of the year, which will be lovely, because I've got an old book of really old traditional carols, so I'm enjoying researching that at the moment. I'm studying all the time. I'm studying with an organisation called the Reach Approach in the Midlands, or they're called Reach, but some people call them the Reach Approach. And I'm learning all the time more and more about, you know, psychotherapy, counselling, consciousness, sound and consciousness, and just walking my way through, really, and trying to live it more and talk less.
And sing more, maybe.
Sing more, yes.
Talk less and sing more. That's a good one.
That would be good.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, beautiful. That's it, I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah, on behalf of the SNUi, the students, and myself, of course, I'd like to thank you very much for your inspiration, your wisdom, and of course your beautiful music. And looking forward to hear more from you in the future.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Lucinda.
Bye.